What's up, everyone? Justin Smith here, the Director of Recruiting for Touchdown Alabama and the Managing Editor as well. Welcome to the Timeout Podcast. I'm joined by former Alabama wide receiver, national champion, Mike McCoy. How's it going today, Mike?
Man, you got it, brother. I appreciate you having me on cam, brother.
Alabama, of course, defense got continuously better as the season went on in terms of production, in terms of them giving up points under Kane Womack in that 4-2-5 defense that he's brought to Tuscaloosa. And of course, they're bringing back a lot of defensive players from last season, guys who decided to not go to the NFL, specifically when it comes to that like front seven. When you bring back guys like Tim Keenan, Deontay Lawson, Keelon Sapp, so many guys decided to not go to the NFL and come back to the defense. And now the expectation now is that this defense is going to be experienced. It should be one of the best defenses in college football. And of course, I know you have had some mixed feelings about like the scheme and just about this defense in general. Just what are your thoughts and your expectations, at least at this point, for this defense moving forward?
First off, it's always roll tide. I am the biggest fan, but at the same time, it's almost like siblings. I can talk about my brother, but y'all can't. You know what I'm saying? So it's always coming from a place of love. I think the players coming back, man, super excited, super jacked about these guys, especially Tim Keenan, the experience up front. But the only flaw that I have is the 4-2-5 defense is more or less that's a pro defense. That's a defense where you're in the NFL. I'm gonna allow the guys to catch the ball in front of me. It's almost entertainment. You have two linebackers. You can never stop the run. You know what I'm saying? So, and this is the SEC. In order to dominate, bro, you need to run a 4-3. You know what I'm saying? That's just what you have to have. You have to have three linebackers. You have to have headhunters. Right now, yes, we look better. We got better progressively, but we have not played any football to where we have dominated the entire game on defense. And we have not applied a ton of pressure. I felt like we had a lot of guys on the leash. So me, honestly, man, I think most of your defensive is supposed to be a reflection of your coordinator. It's supposed to be, when you think about hard-nosed defenses, most of their defensive coordinators, they're assholes, man. I mean, that's just what it is. It's like, it's a different mindset. It's a different mantra that has to be embodied over there. And we haven't seen it. It's been a while since Bama has seen that. It's been a while. So I'm not worried about necessarily about the players. It's the scheme of things that I am concerned about.
And this is something that I actually want to talk to you about in terms of the Jimmys and the Joes and the players. And you said it about Alabama having players on the leash and just the level of talent that Alabama has had on the defensive side of football in recent years. And my biggest criticism about this defense has been up front, the defensive line in the trenches. Just over the last couple of years, just to be real, I always say Alabama's had too many nice guys, in my opinion, because I know these guys. I've covered them, I've interviewed them, and of course, you train and you coach guys. You know that there's a lot of like nice, good kids out there, and there's some kids who like nice and good, and they can like turn it on. Then they can turn to like a different guy inside the trenches. But there's some kids who are kind of like nice on the field, and they're a little bit nice on the field. And there's a couple who are mean all the time. Like they have that same like attitude and that same demeanor on and off the field. And one of those guys in particular that I like really liked, and he probably one of the few ones I've seen have it. It's kind of like James Smith out of Montgomery. Like he was one of the ones I've seen do it like all the time. He was always on. I seen him practice. He was bullying his teammates, throwing them all around. I'm like, yo, I don't see that all the time when I go to a lot of these, like when I'm going out to evaluate guys Alabama's looking at. So do you think that has played a role in it in terms of Alabama's defensive production, that maybe they've recruited too many nice guys specifically in the trenches?
Man, most definitely, man. Most of the kids that hard times build tough people. Good times build weak people. That's in the Bible. That's in the Quran. Everybody knows. It's just like these kids right now, they have so much access to knowledge, but they're lacking wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Like they are craving that. They need that discipline. But most of the kids that you need right now, these coaches don't really get outside and recruit anymore. They really don't. They go based on whose offers. How many offers he got? Man, fuck that. Does he fit into your system? Can I use this guy? You know what I'm saying? Like there's no organic relationships anymore. Like you need a kid. So now that money's involved, that's altered things, man, because it's almost like this. When there's a hunger and that hunger gets fulfilled, do I love the game or am I playing out of fear? Back in the day, guys like me, we played football out of fear. These kids nowadays, they are playing because they actually want something out of. They're getting paid to play. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
now that I've been paid, it's just like your favorite rapper back in the day.
yeah,
His hardest music was when before he got
yeah,
that
for sure.
check.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like Jeezy had every pardon my language. I know this is about to
yeah,
be a podcast.
yeah.
Jeezy had everybody wanting to sell dope. Everybody. You know what I'm saying? He had everybody. It was just he got money. The music changed. The hunger was a little bit different, and that's what we're seeing right now, man. I just feel like these kids right now, these coaches are not getting out here. They're going based on what somebody else says, instead of doing their own homework on something. You know what I'm saying? Like when was the last time Coach Saban actually went to somebody's house and sat in the house? And everybody's going, well, it's not like that anymore. Well, let me build an organic relationship with you to make sure that you are a fit. You get these boys from California, you get these boys from Michigan, bro. They not gonna understand what the South really means. You know what I'm saying? Like you had kids that when I was playing, they gave up scholarships to go play at Troy or Kennesaw State to walk on at Alabama because his grandfather played at Alabama.
Yeah.
It means something to these. It used to mean something. We used to play for that A on the chest. These boys are playing for their last name now. It's a difference. So we got to get back to recruiting better.
Yeah, and I think that what you're talking about in recruiting is like a whole different conversation to have. And I think the average fan just doesn't know, like what you said, building those organic relationships. Like of course I cover recruiting. That's my main thing that I do with Touchdown Alabama, and I see it like firsthand. A lot of times we can wrap up a recruiting class, and me and John will sit there and be like, "Yo, we've seen these guys play at practice and playing games more than any coach in the nation." Have seen these kids. So this is just kind of like the nature of kind of like recruiting and how it is right now. But with Alabama returning those guys in particular, with the expectation, because the fans are not going to want to hear about the scheme and about like this and that. They want It's Alabama. We gotta be dominant on defense. We gonna shake back. We are Alabama. We're gonna be great on defense. We got all these guys coming back. What needs to happen for this defense in your mind to be successful, or I guess live up to those expectations that are going to come? Because everybody's gonna, like, right off the rip say Alabama should have one of the best defenses in college football.
On paper, they're going to always exceed expectations. But that comes down to that locker room. That comes down to who you have in the leadership role. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's going to come down to. And the leadership role, that's what I always say. You counsel with old men, but you go to war with young men. You have, and I'm not just talking about Alabama, this is across the country, this is everywhere. You have too many coaches trying to be these guys' friends instead of mentors and coaches. You know what I'm saying? You got coaches asking about, man, she got a friend? You know what I'm saying? Even if you pay attention to the NFL, what is it doing? It's getting younger and younger and younger. My question was, Bill Belichick is probably going to be one of the best coaches in the NFL history. Best. But because he demands so much, he couldn't get a job in the NFL. He expects, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
again, I always use this analogy. I've been using it so much lately. Coach Saban was that old granddaddy that you couldn't stand, but you're missing when he gone. You need these older coaches back on the sideline. These young boys can learn something from them. The money has blinded everybody, even the coaches, man. So it's going to come down to that locker room culture. That's what it's going to come down to.
And speaking of that locker room culture, of course, it's going to be pushed by some of those veteran guys, those guys who are coming back. They're going to have to like take a hold of that and be a part of building that locker room culture that is hopefully going to let them have success on defense side of football next season. So who are some guys on defense that you like that are coming back? Is there any guy in particular you think might have a breakout season? Like I talked about him earlier. I think James Smith has an opportunity. All depends on how many snaps he gets. I like Tim Keenan and what he has developed into. I think a lot of people were like weren't high on him when he signed with the Crimson Tide. Lawson coming back, you're bringing back an experienced linebacker who plays really well at that middle linebacker position for the Crimson Tide. Is there any guys on this defense that you really like or you are expecting to possibly have a big season?
Man, I like those names that you just said. I think Tim Keenan will have a breakout year next year. But the leader right now is leaders are born, they're not made. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's going to have to be somebody that they don't have in the locker room because the pass is just the pass. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be somebody right now who's saying, hey, man, this is my only way to the league. Like, this is my only opportunity. I'm playing out of fear. I can't go back to that community that I came from. That right there is going to be the guy that's going to make the nucleus of the team. He's going to rally the troops. You know, you need a guy. I don't need the rah-rah. We need a guy that's disciplined. You know what I'm saying? That he don't even smile. You don't even know when he's happy. You know what I'm saying? He's just serious all the time. Those I don't think we have that right now. And I could be completely wrong. Don't get me wrong. The guys that you mentioned, bro, they are Sunday players. I think they'll get a shot at the next level. But we're talking about just because you may be the best at your position doesn't mean you know how to lead men. You know what I'm saying? We got to have somebody who is no nonsense. Hey, you call everybody out. We need a guy to be the quarterback of the defense that the coach is almost scared to talk to. I kid you not. I remember Roe and Dante. Man, come on, man. Like, you're going to have to fight one of them. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. And they mean what they say, and they say what they mean. They embody that middle linebacker spirit. And I don't think we've had that since who? Mosley, Reggie Ragland. After that, it's a drop-off, man.
Yeah, for sure. And the way you talking about those guys, I think that's why a lot of people say that is kind of like the old school mentality because you're around these kids. I'm around them at the Under Armour. It's all happy and fun times. Like at these like camps and stuff. There's not really that same fire and passion and to compete to lead.
I blame LeBron James. I'm saying it because when I went to camps, when I went to my All-American games, I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm trying to show you I'm the best at my position. I'm the best at my job. You got these kids right now, they're comfortable. Comfortable times build weak people. You have to have hard times, and we're not making these kids earn anything. We're just giving it to them. Like, you got think about it, bro. Before we even got on this live, you got backups making more money than their parents combined, more money than they've ever seen. You know, so mama don't want to say nothing to little Johnny. Daddy just got a brand new truck, so he ain't messing it up, you know. So you allow these things to happen because everybody's telling you you're so good. So the first time that these kids deal with some adversity, you know what I'm saying? Even if I disagree with a kid, oh, you hate. Like, I got a different opinion. I just don't agree with you. Don't mean I don't like you. Everything is hate. So if you don't go along, get along game, you're considered a hater now. And if you tell a kid, hey, man, give me a little bit more effort, you can't do it. Oh. Cool. You got it, big dog. So these kids they're headed for destruction, man, right now. And everybody, even now, they got parents right now are leaving good programs, great programs in high schools to go to a mediocre school so their kid can get some shine. That kid is never going to fully develop. What is he going to do when he does get to college and he's the number 3 guy? Is he going to stay in that fire? These parents are raising these kids to be people that they don't even like. That's what the problem is.
Yeah, you speak about that adversity, and of course, adversity is nothing new. It's part of life. If they weren't playing, if they were not playing football, everybody in life has to handle adversity and overcome it for sure. And leads us into this next topic I want to discuss. We didn't discuss it earlier, but I do want to talk about the transfer portal because adversity is, I think, feeds the transfer portal a little bit. And as soon as the transfer portal opened, we saw like former Alabama players, Derrick Henry, Tua, come out and say, "Yo, I was about to leave Alabama because I wasn't playing early." And just what, in your opinion, with the athletes that you work with, and just looking at college football, what is the future of the transfer portal in your mind? Where are we headed? Is it? It looks like it's headed in the trajectory of it's going to get worse. And just me, when I first heard the transfer portal, like saying it was going to be a thing, in my mind, I guess I'm always thinking optimistically. I'm thinking like, oh, some kid from like Alabama State gonna get opportunity to play at like Georgia because he's gonna get more shine and more opportunity. And just me thinking optimistically, I'm thinking, yo, no one wants to leave Ohio State. No one wants to leave Alabama. They got it made. You play 1 year at Alabama, you going to the NFL. That's kind of like my mindset at that particular time. So in terms of the transfer portal, what do you think we are headed towards?
You're making these kids grow up before they have to grow up. You're taking the fun out of the game. These kids no longer love football. They love what football can do for them. They're no longer, you don't have kids that grow up fans of Alabama anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a good place to be in right now. I feel like the solution should be, hey man, you only get 2 transfers, one every 4 years, and then you get a grad year. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have to come to some type of cap. You're gonna make this a pro, but with these pros, depression is gonna go up because now you got an 18 or a 22-year-old kid. Well, never mind, these boys my age now. They 27 now. You know what I'm saying? You're making things so easy for them. And when you make things easy for them, like you said, the adversity, that builds character. That forces you to think. It forces you to grow as a person. The only time you change is when what? There's enough pain. You know what I'm saying? So they have never been told no. They haven't been told, hey man, you need to work on this. So when you get these kids and they jump from team to team, they're showing what? No loyalty. Bro, you know you're not loyal to anything but yourself. You don't serve anything bigger than you. You worshiping money right now. You left a great coach and a great person that was going to help bring and raise you to be a young man to go get with a coach who just going to kiss your ass and use you up. And then you go back to the ghetto, you go, and you're mad at the world. You're 35, 36-year-old on Twitter and Facebook talking about what you used to do.
Yeah, for sure. The portal is like crazy, and I could, like you said, I think there has to be some type of rules put in place eventually. Like I tell people, I don't really have the answer because there's so much going on. I think it has to definitely be a cap. I think that's a nice way to go with it. A good way I was thinking, because I kind of really don't like freshman transfer, because I was like, most freshmen don't play anyway. It's only gonna be a select few of freshmen in the opportunity to play. I'm almost going to put in a rule where like freshmen can't transfer or sophomore can't transfer. Like it has to be a cap on when you can transfer. And I think that could be a way to do it. But I think eventually they have to put some type of parameters on it because it's just gonna get crazy and crazier if they don't do that.
I mean, I agree wholeheartedly. Even like with the freshmen, I don't think these kids, again, it's a privilege. And I hate always bringing up what it used to be. I feel like I sound like an old man when I say these things, and I'm not that far removed, but they are. I guess what I'm trying to say is you were the man back in the day. If you were a freshman in high school and you got moved up to JV, oh brother, after the season, you thought you were the man. You knew going to whenever my era came out, it's hard to say 15 years ago. When you went into school, you knew you may not play until your junior year, but you had guys that were older than you teaching you the game, made sure that you understood. And it was a competitive job every day. The beautiful thing about Coach Saban did, which was a Jedi mind trick, is there were no starters. Your starters were based on your practice. And I feel like somewhere along the way, when money got involved, his vision got a little cloudy. So right now, it's going to be just like the NFL. They're going to play who they pay. I may have a backup that's better than my starter, but because I'm paying this boy $1.3 million, which is insane, the boy had 12 tackles last year. You know what I'm saying? Like he played special teams. You giving this boy $1 million, like you can't really respect it. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't feel like these kids really earned it. I'm all for these boys getting money. But when you see kids not putting that money up, or you see these boys spending $100,000 on a truck with no guidance and nobody really telling them about taxes, nobody telling them about a Roth IRA, nobody's telling them about mutual funds or index funds. Like, bro, you're setting these kids up for failure. So, but when you try to get these boys some game, I made more money than you. How you gonna tell me? You know what I'm saying? So you arguing with the wall, man.
Yeah, it's a crazy landscape that we are in right now in college football, and you spoke on it because there's no parameters around NIL. A lot of ways, there's no there are no rules when it comes to NIL and agents and what has to happen. There's no rules, and no one really over that. But the next topic we want to discuss is what Alabama fans are going to want to talk about probably the entire summer, and that is the quarterback battle, because everybody wants to know who's going to be Alabama's quarterback next season. With you being a former Alabama player, what are, not just naming a guy, but whoever going to be the starting quarterback, what do you want to see from that guy for you to have faith that he's gonna be the guy that leads Alabama to success next season?
I want to see a quarterback. Not, I want to see him in a football helmet only. I don't want to see him on an ad. I don't want to see him on the commercial. I don't want to see him holding up a bag. Get your ass in a playbook and learn and do your mother freaking job. You make sure these front five in front of you are doing their job. You make sure these NASCARs on the outside are being taken care of. It is too commercial. That's what I don't want to see. I want to see an asshole back there in the quarterback, where almost like Hollywood Joe, when he was cool ass quarterback. You know what I'm saying? When he ain't rattled, you know what I'm saying? And you know when he play, he play. And if he's one of these quarterbacks, it's two type of quarterbacks I really love. Hollywood Joe, and then give me one that's like Johnny Manziel. He don't care, you know. Hey, he hung over the next day, but when he laid them cleats up, baby, you know he finna put on the show. Some players are just like that. Those are one or two quarterbacks I would like to see. Somebody like a Hollywood Joe demeanor, meaning every time we step on this field, we got a chance to win. Or you have one that's just, hey, man, I'm AI. We talking about practice? No, let's talk about this game, and I'm finna put up 42 on you. That's what you need in your driver's seat. And I think I'm not sure. Now, anybody can make film look good. Film ain't what it used to be, because you got these boys now, they can do some crazy stuff with that camera, man. Yeah. They can make a tall, I'm finna say a tall midget, tall person look like he's 6'11", you know what I'm saying? So yeah, you can do wonders with that camera. I'm excited to see what these boys are going to look like in the spring. So I don't know. Now, I'm a fan of Ty Simpson. I think he should have played a little bit more this year. So I'm interested to see exactly, are they going to give him the keys to the car? And now I know I often criticized the play calling last year, and I was rightfully so, because it was unseasoned chicken for sure. You had two probably first, second round draft picks in that backfield running the ball. There's no way I'm running my quarterback more than I'm running them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's definitely one of my criticisms of the offense. I think a lot of people criticize because of the lack of running the football. One of my biggest pet peeves, I'm not sure if a lot of people were critical of this. I felt like there were too many sets with two tight ends. I don't think you had the tight end play that demanded you to have two tight ends on the football field. I think you needed one tight end. And if you had two, you needed somebody to create separation. I feel like Jalen Milroe is not the type of thread the needle accurate quarterback, and those tight ends are not creating separation. And now fans are wondering why Ryan Williams is getting 19 targets. I'm gonna throw it to Ryan more
I'm
than
one of
those
them.
people. Yeah.
I'm one of them. Why the hell 19 passes in a game when you have 5 or 6 receivers on that sideline? I don't think it should have been out of the five receivers. I even think the freshman should have played. Is that Odom? I think that's his name.
The tall receiver, 6'5".
Tall receiver. Like, you got to feed your dogs, man. There's no reason he shouldn't have had at least 200 yards on the season, 300 yards on the season. You know what I'm saying? We saw no creativity. We didn't see any double moves. I didn't see one wide shake. I don't even think we saw a comeback this past year. I don't even think we seen a post corner. Do we all I saw was a weak ass stair step, you know what I'm saying? Maybe one or two. The middle of the field wide open. We're not attacking. Well, he can't do it. Well, put him in a position. Let's see. You know what I'm saying? If I'm paying you all this doggone money, you gonna do something.
Yeah, for sure. I do think. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with you on that. I do feel like there was a lack of opportunity for Jalen Milroe in that offense, and I'm one of the people. Unfortunately for Jalen Milroe, I don't think he ever had an offensive coordinator that said, "Hey, we're gonna put you in position to do what you do best." I feel like Nick Sheridan. I feel like he failed at it. I feel like Tommy Reese failed at it because I feel like Jalen Milroe has a unique skill set. Of course, there's some parts of his game that he has to improve on. He has to get better at. Everyone knows that, but I feel like none of his offensive coordinators, unfortunately, put him in the absolute best position based on his skill set.
Man, Justin, you said a mouthful there. My question to you or to the fans are these analysts that are analysts. Why the fuck do you need an analyst when you're the offensive coordinator? That's like the NBA. People wonder why the ratings are down. Everybody game is the same. It's either 3-point ball or I'm doing a layup. There's no creativity. Everybody's running the same offense. Same thing in football. That's all I'm saying. It's like there's no creativity right now. The best team in football, if you ask me team to team, player to player, is Notre I even hate I even have to say it, Notre Dame. But you got guys, they are all ball in. And they're not even that good. It's not even that they're out. They're more. I would say they're more organized than everybody. And whoever that they got over there, they absolutely love them. But my question to these people, all OCs, you got analysts on the job. If I'm an OC, I'm going based on what I'm seeing and how I feel and what the moment is presenting. They pay you that amount of money for you to be the OC for a reason. I don't need Buddy back here telling me what to do. It's 4th and 1. Should we run it? I think we're 80%. Man, fudge all of that. What's the energy? Are we at home or are we away? Yeah. Do I trust my offensive line in front of me or do I question this quarterback? And I don't know. Like, what are y'all doing in practice? I kid you not. You watched the bowl game. How much time did they have out? 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah. Running time, yeah.
That game looked like it was watching cold paint dry.
Yeah.
It's terrible. You didn't even want to watch it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that offense definitely looked. To be honest, to me, it was like what we saw all season. To me, it was like, yo, this offense is what it is at this particular point in the season. Like you said, I feel like more receivers should have gotten an opportunity to play. I feel like 2 tight ends were in way too much. I think most of the time should have had another wide receiver in. You wonder why so many wide receivers entered the portal because go back and look at their snap counts. So you can go back and look at the game. A lot of times those guys were on the sideline. Kobe Prentice was on the sideline like a dangerous amount of times. You feel like, yo, Kobe isn't getting like any snaps, and Odom would play like the first snap of the game, and then he'd disappear like the rest of the game. So I definitely agree with you on that. Like Alabama's offense has a lot to prove and a lot to show this spring. Like I said, spring is going to be valuable because we're going to get an opportunity to see if things are going to look different in year 2 or they trying to go with the same type of scheme. And of course, next season will be when we really get to see what they are going to do at the on the offensive side of football in multiple positions, but just focusing on the quarterback position. Like I said, I like Ty Simpson in terms of his skill set and the way that he plays. I feel like when Saban was here, I feel like he toned his game down a little bit because if you go back and look at Simpson's huddle, of course, like you said, huddle is, like I always tell people, it's kind of always hard to greater guy by this huddle, because huddle is this my highlight film, man. This is me in my very best. I'm
That's
not putting my
it.
bad plays on here, and that's why I always value when I'm evaluating guys to try to get the fans the best view of this guy. I want to see him in person. Like, I want to try my best to see him in person as much as possible. Most likely in a game. That's where you can see at least you see if some flaw shows up, and kind of like so you can give people the best evaluation. And I saw Keelan Russell at the Under Armour All America game, and he looked pretty good, pretty confident. And one of the things I like, at least from a quarterback, to get recruited to play Power Five, you got to make all the throws. I feel like that's like the minimum
Hmm.
thing. Like, you got to make all the throws. Everybody got to be able to do that to play Power Five football. But he was consistent too, and I feel like that's kind of like the next step. I guess for him to come in and really push, it all depends on if he comes in, like you said, and be a leader. He has shown flashes of that. Has played at Duncanville High School in Texas, one of the toughest classifications inside of that state, and he has been productive, winning multiple state championships. So, with you being a former player, what would a freshman have to do at quarterback to come in and demand the team's respect and take that position in your mind?
Just got it. Just got it. You know, some players that just have an air about them. It's just a certainty that you can't explain. Um, a person that pretty much comes in knowing exactly what they want. Um, Prime example is when Julio came in. Like Julio, I mean, you had guys just as fast, they can run routes, all of this. I was 6'3", maybe weighed 4 or 5 pounds more than me. When Coach Saban said he changed the room, a lot of people you may take it the wrong way, but he wasn't talking about just from a talent standpoint. Right, I got my first dunk in seventh grade. We had guys on our football team that could have been two-sport college athletes. We were that deep and that good. But he came in with a plan, knowing exactly what he wanted. And what I mean by that is he knew what it took to be a pro. Now, granted, I feel like they gave him those resources as well, but he raised the level of competition in that room. Uh, Never complained, always on time, always had his notes in, efficient, and just was about his business. It's a difference. You know what I'm saying? It's not just talent level. There's a certain air that you have in order to embody that leadership role. You know what I'm saying? It's not all your leaders aren't like Coach Saban. Coach Saban is like real little,
Yeah.
but he's smart enough. He's a CEO. Let me put real good people around me to make my team better. He has an ego, but I have an ego to know that I got to get better pieces around me. And that's what I think a true leader is. It's not so much talent, but it's vision. Is the quarterback that's coming in a visionary? Can he win the team over? Because like I know, we're gonna me even if I'm a senior and I got a freshman quarterback come in, I'm watching him from the time he walk in to the time he leave them first couple weeks. How is this man assertive? Is he on time for practice? Is he in his film book? How does he interact with the teammate? Is he building the team up? Is he destroying the team? Is he we, or is it me? It's a difference. So that's what it'll have to take to be a freshman. He got to win over the staff, the team, and it's just a different type of confidence, man. You don't see it all the time because he's a freshman. It's almost like you expect them to mess up, but when they do exceed it, man, you give them a different type of confidence, man. So I think it's going to come down to the maturity level, and it's going to come down to the assertiveness that he's going to bring to that facility.
And I think that's why, like what you're talking about, I think that's why some people are high on Russell, because just on what they have seen, the confidence that he shows and the confidence that comes from him when you see him talk. Like, for anybody who interviewed him during the Under Armour All America practices and games, he said he's coming to start. Like, I'm coming to compete. I'm coming to start. Matter of fact, I'm coming to compete is probably like selling him short, because he didn't say compete. He said he's coming to start and take positions like in every interview. So at least from what he's saying and like the way that he's talking, the confidence that he's showing, he seems to have that type of attitude. But of course, everyone knows it's not all about, kind of like what you said earlier, it's not all about the talking. It's like what you do day in and day out, and what those older guys will see from him once he walks through that door and once he gets some more time under his belt. So it will be interesting to see just what exactly Alabama will do at the quarterback position during the spring, because spring is really like, I guess, our first glance of kind of like where the quarterback battle would be at that particular point in time.
And that's the thing, man. I agree. That's cool, man. He's high on himself. I'm the biggest shit talker in the world, but I'm not gonna
Yeah.
say it on camera if I'm becoming. You gotta humble yourself. I don't know the man. I didn't even see the interview. Um, but it's just like, man, you better be careful, man. You don't want to kick over no ant bed. You know what I'm saying? Because they've been where you're trying to go.
Yeah.
Ty Simpson has been in this program. You know what I'm saying? Don't create no enemies when you don't have to have any. You know what I'm saying? Come in. Let's work together. We all rowing in the same direction. Let me learn. What does he do well? Is I call it B&B. It's business for business. You know what I'm saying? This guy, what is Tyson? He'll be a junior, senior next year. Which one?
I mean, I'm 100% sure he's got 3 years in the program. I think he's already graduated. I think he's going to. Say
Have two
senior
more
season.
year, red
Yeah,
shirt. Yeah. So
yeah.
he probably these are guys you got to learn from, man. Yeah, you compete, but I'm learning. You know what I'm saying? It's always a competitive day, but I don't write no check. Get your ass can't cash now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's why it's going to be a battle. And I think that's kind of like why everyone is looking at it. Like I said, Ty Simpson has that experience, and I think he's a guy who has waited, and he signed with Alabama knowing he would have to wait. Like as soon as during his like high school interviews, he would always tell everybody, "Yo, I'm well aware that I'll probably have to wait 3 years before I get an opportunity to play." And just knowing that he had that mentality back then, you would think that he's been working for this opportunity in terms of doing everything behind the scenes, like I said, learning the playbook, learning what he needs to do once his opportunity comes, and it has arrived for him to take the reins if he's going to be Alabama's next starting quarterback. So we're going to talk about that starting quarterback battle for, like I said, the next few months. The spring will be, I guess, our first glance at how this quarterback battle will look. Again,
Well, I tell you one thing, they better change their damn offensive scheme.
I
And the true essence of a great offensive coordinator or a great head coach, you don't run just a system. You run a system that fits your players. You know what I'm saying? You know what his limitations are. You know where he's advanced at. You know what he does well. You know what he doesn't do well. And if he doesn't do something well, why is he starting? You know what I'm saying? You know what the standard is that to be in this program, because his success depends on your success. Again, you at Alabama, bro. This is a lot different. You you f around, you're gonna be you're gonna be looking for a job next year. Halfway through the season. These folks ain't playing, bro. They want microwave results. This is not a pot roast. You have limited time. You just saw what the Patriots just did to a 1 year head coach that was a pillar of he was part of the dynasty. They don't care. I need my money and I need it now.
Yeah,
So
for sure. This is gonna be the last thing we talk about here, but you actually made me think about something. I've seen some reports. I think Paul Finebaum wants to almost put Kalen DeBoer on the hot seat. I feel like at the end of this, towards the end of the season, I felt like if certain things happen, I think we could be moving in that direction. I don't personally think he's on the hot seat, but I do think he inches himself further there a little bit with the Michigan results and how the season ended. How would you examine that? And of course, it's really early. Just what are your thoughts on like kind of where his, I guess, job status stands right now? We know he's head coach at Alabama. It's only been 1 year. He went 9-4, best. I think one of the best first season for an Alabama head coach. Just what do you think about that in terms of like his job status? What kind of like what others are saying?
the hard part is you embody or you inherited a dynasty. If it was me, I wouldn't have took the job. That's just me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You because Coach Saban kind of transitioned. It wasn't no like I'm gonna usher this guy in. I'm gonna pass the business along. It was like I'm stepping down. This too much for me. Like I'm not with it no more. So you have big shoes to follow. Sometimes just because somebody makes something look so easy, don't mean it's always easy all the time. Everybody sees Steph Curry. Boom. Every time, man, he averaging 30. You see LeBron. but nobody sees the 8 hours of practice that they put in every day. You know what I'm saying? And that's the sucky part is you're going to be judged a lot harder than any other coach would because you're following behind arguably one of the best coaches ever to stand on the college sideline. That's pressure for your ass. But I think he's going to have to ruffle some feathers. Some changes are going to have to be made. And that West, I don't know him. I've never met him. I've never drank beer with him. I don't know him. But you in the South, you around a lot of these kids that you're gonna have to get talked to kind of greasy, man. I know you don't cuss. I know you're a child of God, all of this. But Jesus was a revolutionary. He was a gay, hey, he didn't play all the time. But I think you have to have it has to be a level of respect there. And I don't know if that's the case, but I think Coach DeBoer is really going to have to ruffle some feathers within that coaching staff because I get a little inside scoop on the little things. It's too sweet over there, man. Them boys ain't scared of nothing.
Yeah, and I've listened to parents who have visited Alabama. I know like Alabama didn't recruit in state as well, and I've heard like just giving I guess the fans some inside information as well. They like I it's kind of like what you said. Like a parent of an talented in-state recruit left Alabama like the first time he visited under Bohr said Alabama ain't talking about nothing over there. Too many West Coast guys over there. Too many and I heard that from a couple of different parents as well. So you like you said that's going to be something that Alabama has to take care of to make sure that the culture inside of that locker room is what it needs to be successful. And also, unfortunately for Kalen DeBoer, he inherited the program where in a period of time where college football is going into this transition that we talked about earlier, where the portal is concerned. Of course, Saban didn't have to worry about that during the early part of his time in Tuscaloosa. He got NIL. He got so many things to worry about. And like I said earlier to you, I think before we started the show, you can't have depth. You can't have quality depth probably in this new era. It's going to be very, very difficult to keep a 5-star, 4-star guy on the sideline for 2 to 3 years, unless you're gonna say, "Yo, we're gonna give you 1 million every year to sit on the sideline." Unless you give him that, you probably are not going to have him just sitting down for 2 or 3 years.
Well, and honestly, before we get off of that, I think they're putting too much weight on these 4 and 5 stars. And what I mean by that, man, you can take a kid and you can give less money to, but you can develop him into the player that you want him to be. You know what I'm saying? These are no longer organic relationships. Like I had a college coach who offered one of my kids to send a portal. Uh, you offered him, but you haven't talked to his mom. You haven't talked to his dad. You don't know if this boy smoked weed. You don't know if this boy got a drinking problem. You don't know if he bipolar. You don't know if he bathes. You don't know nothing. All you know is he used to be a 5-star back in the day. Well, why didn't he play when he was at this particular school? Like you, and I'm playing devil's advocate because I'm just like, you guys are doing all these things. You putting so much merit on what somebody tells you rather than you being a foot soldier, getting out here and building meaningful relationships. You have too many guys. Coaches don't want to coach no more. I have had college coaches tell me straight up, I want college guys. They're not willing to develop. So why am I, as a university, why am I paying you millions of dollars? Me as a fan, why am I paying back as an alumni hundreds of dollars out of my pocket every year? If you don't want to coach, you don't want to do your job.
Yeah,
You
for
know what
sure.
I'm saying? So
Yeah, for sure.
I think he may be on the hot seat. I think again he's going to have to ruffle some feathers, man. I think he needs to get an old council of guys like you, me, man. I just ask questions, and I know this is nothing about me, but man, if I'm him, I'm reaching out to Urban Myers. I'm reaching out to Kevin Steele. I'm reaching out to Coach Save. I'm reaching out to all these guys to figure out what should I be looking at? What should I be evaluating? What should I be doing? Now, granted, you have a GM now. Let him do all the rah rah. Let him do all that. But you as a head coach, You really can't smile too much. You can't show all your teeth too much. You really got to be on some mob type stuff with somebody scared to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? Like you got
Yeah.
to have a little level of fear. Like, yeah, I don't know if he in the mood today. So the last thing you want is a kid walking up to you talking about some money. It's the
Yep.
middle of the season, and you saw what so and so getting over here, and you want me to match, if you pay. Well, if I'm the head coach, it's almost like asking for a girl's a girl's hand for marriage. At the end of the day, in order for a lot of these kids to go play in the NFL, they still got to go through Kalen DeBoer to talk to him. What kind of resume is he going to say you did here? What is he going to say about you? Are you a hard worker? Did you show up on time? Were you efficient? Were you coachable? Were you all these things? That's your green light. So these coaches don't realize you have a lot more cards than what you have. You got a lot more power than what you think you have. Everybody said, well, it's the kids, it's the kids. Hey, a lot of these kids are piece of shit because their parents allowed them to get away and dictate things. Get you some kids that want to be a part of your program. Get some kids that want to wear that A on their chest with pride. Right now, you going out the kids that they're going to the highest bidder. I don't want you. I want loyal patrons.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's kind of like the difficult, I guess, like the nature of college football, and it is that recruiting is not that much different from the portal. They offer guys based on offer lists. They offer guys based on rankings. Soon as like the national sites point out a guy's a 5-star, his offers come flooding in, and they're just kind of like the nature of kind of like how recruiting is, and it's gonna be very I guess vital and just something to watch out for when it comes to DeBoer, in terms of how things are run, like you said, at practice. Because I'm pretty sure by just me, of course, I didn't play college football, but I know when I played high school, there were some coaches I didn't want to be coached by on certain days because I know he's gonna get on everything. He's gonna make you do this, make you do this, and I feel like that's the vibe Saban always gave off. Is like you love to play for him, you know it's gonna pay off, but it's some days you're gonna go in there like
Man, Coach Saban gonna cuss out that start. He'll cuss me out, and he'll turn around and cuss that walk on. That walk on who doing something wrong. He gonna cuss him out. You would think he was the starter. It didn't matter how he did. It wasn't a favor. Now he had some favors. I ain't gonna lie to you.
yeah.
He had some favors. I'd be like, Julio, tell him, man. Tell him your leg hurt, bro. Tell him we've been out here too long. But he had his favorites, but he was fair. You know what I'm saying? Like he's gonna reward you based on your effort that you brought out there every day. You can't argue with that. And like you said, man, being on the sideline, mostly like you know more about these players than these coaches do. You know more. Yeah, you're an analyst, you're a reporter, you do this full time, but you actually sit there and you watch the entire game. You understand this kid's habits. You understand he's taking plays off. You know, nah, he ain't gonna fit. Yeah, he gonna fit. Bro, I worked out a 5-star 2 weeks ago. Kid you not. Kid you not. When I tell you the amount of money that these schools are getting him, and I can promise you next year, I guarantee you he's gonna be looking for another school. Not because when I tell you they just don't have it, they offer them based on size, metrics. Like, and Coach Saban know when he was like, I don't know who recruit Birmingham.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
You see my face, bro. You know how many kids that I tried to get them that they turn their nose on, and these kids go to other schools and ball out. Hey man, come on, man.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
yeah. There was no. I know Saban said that, but actually, there was like no excuse for that because you recruited Kool-Aid McKinstry, and he was on a team with them every year at
Cap,
Pennsylvania.
that was exactly what I was saying.
Yeah,
Cap,
every year.
you got too much talent in the state. I can tell you right now, you got 3 states you can pull from and you can win a natty. Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. You recruit just them 3 schools. And you mentioned the University of Alabama. Man, these boys would get their left arm and right leg to put on their uniform, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like you said, that's no excuse. So I just called Cap on that. He lying about that.
Yeah, for
But
sure,
yeah,
100%. I definitely I
he
heard it.
knows,
Yeah,
man. Coach
yeah,
Saban knows it was some dogs, man. But they, again,
yeah,
it's a lot on these coaches. They got so many things to deal with, and like you said, the board got to worry about retaining his same coaching staff next year. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Are my coaches happy? Or you got to worry about, is this coach saving this kid for when he's a head coach next year? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
this is not a good time to be a head coach, because I would
yeah,
not want to, man, because there are too many moving pieces, and I don't think you're gonna have a peace of mind doing it. I feel sorry for him, man, because again, you're in Alabama, you just came from Washington, man. These crowd of people down here are cutthroat. Cutthroat. They have no remorse for nothing, no regard for nothing.
yeah,
It's either Roll Tide or War Eagle. That's how you meet somebody. Like, y'all are friends based on this.
yeah.
And but again, bro, you got a lot of talent. There's no way. That ain't no way in Sand Hill. That boy that's at Parker High School right now. That boy, Jordan Crawford.
Jordan, yeah,
Man, you should have threw the kitchen sink at that boy, man.
yeah.
Man, that's the. I haven't seen a D lineman like that boy since Marcel Darius, man. And that's saying a lot. I mean, you just don't
Yeah.
see kids like that. I'm just like, how do you let a kid like that go to Auburn?
Yeah, that's why just not to cut you off, but that's why I thought Hugh Freeze has done such a great job. When he first took the job at Auburn, I said, and he did it the first day because we actually did a commitment video for the guy who he transferred from Alabama, Sterling Dixon. But like doing the commitment video, Hugh Freeze is already like calling him. Like the day Hugh Freeze got hired, he made in-state a priority. Like that day, like this recruiting class didn't just happen overnight. That was Hugh Freeze's like goal as soon as he stepped into that door. Yo, I'm gonna go recruit the state of Alabama really hard because he knows what the state has. This state produces a lot of great players, and that's why it's gonna be vital that Alabama gets back to where they need to be when it comes to in-state recruiting.
Why do you think everybody? I'm not trying. I'm from Mississippi,
Yeah,
born and raised. Everybody know it. I'm country to the
yeah,
core. That's why all the JUCOs are powerhouses in Mississippi.
yeah,
You have a different type of monster down there. I'm gonna be honest. It ain't too many, and I mean this. You ain't gonna have too many sorry kids come from Mississippi. Now they end up going to Mississippi State with a program poo cheese, or they go to Ole Miss where, yeah. But for the most part, bro, you got Alabama, Mississippi people that are Alabama fans.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm playing in high school. The referee, this is years ago, 20 years ago. The referee over here, Roll Tide, Mike. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it's a difference. So it shouldn't be that hard. We've gotten lazy because we're Alabama. We just think, hey man, we Alabama. You just come over here. We ain't got to do no work. We don't have to get to know you. But this is Alabama. Coach Saban has made it comfortable for a lot of people. He made it easy for a lot of people because he set the tone. But Bama gonna have to go back to when
yeah,
Saban first got here. First got here when they pulling up in their helicopter on these
yeah,
fields. You know what I'm saying? Where me going into your house, you're gonna have to go to Birmingham, DeBoer. You're gonna have to go sit at
yeah,
some of these boys' couch. You know what I'm
for sure.
saying? You're gonna have to get like prime. You're gonna have to eat some of them greens and some pig feet, brother.
Yeah,
You
for
know
sure.
what I'm saying? It's gonna take more than just throwing a bag at a kid. You want a kid that's gonna be there years, man. You want it years. That's what you got to get back to. Loyalty. Loyalty. Can I get this kid to be where he needs to be? And they gonna tell you, well, we ain't got that much time. Shit, you gonna have plenty of time on your hands in Mexico on your vacation. You know what I'm saying? So them just my 2 cents, man. I don't know. There's probably gonna be some people agree with me. It's gonna be a lot that disagree, but just my opinion.